The Terrifics, issue 15. Gene Luen Yang writing with Steven Segovia on the art. And Matt has done me dirty and didn't read this book.
Hey man, you take that up with my work. I had zero time this week.
First Gene Luen Yang issue.
I know. I'm going to read it. I just did not have time.
Yeah. So it basically it picks up where we left off, more or less, where Miss Terrific from the other Earth is sticking around, and yeah, Michael's on a date with her, and he does this great thing where he's talking about when he had to identify her body, his wife
From the car wreck.
from the car wreck, and he mentions that he knew it was her even before he saw her face because of the scar she had on her hand. There was a scar between her thumb and her finger, and he talks about they're at this date, and she's saying, "Oh, this is like a miracle where I thought I lost my husband, but here you are in front of me, and I'm here for you." But in his narration, he says, he's holding her hand. He's like, her hand's smooth and scarless, and it's just this idea that even though she does seem like it's his wife, it's not exactly her. There are some differences. As much as this seems like a perfect thing for both of them, it isn't necessarily. But later on, she kind of like agrees. Yeah, it's not. But you're not exactly my husband, and I'm not exactly what your wife was. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we can't find something in each other that is comforting. It becomes a bit of an ideological debate as well, because she's very religious and talks about how she prayed for things after he died. And obviously he's very much a man of science. So, we got that. But there's a giant monster attacks mid-date, and the other Terrifics are all fighting them. It's a big snake, and both Plastic Man and Metamorpho turn into big snakes as well to try and fight him. So
they defeat snakes.
Fun, crazy action. But they end up getting swallowed, and when Phantom Girl goes inside the big snake, something weird goes on where it's like, hey, there's not really like any insides to the snake. There's no blood, there's no guts, there's no nothing. It's like a digital construct in the inside. What's going on? This is weird. And then, sure enough, later up, if it turns out, I should just mention, when they defeat the snake, there's a digitized kind of villain who refers to herself as, who are you? Where's she say it? I am his herald. Oh, I'll be honest, I remembered her saying I am herald, and I thought, I'm sure I've heard that before, but she says I am his herald. So yeah, okay, it's a new thing. It's a new villain. So yeah, but it turns out Stag's putting on a demonstration. Stag's got his daughter, and Metamorpho's there. They're showing this general this new. It's essentially a holodeck for training purposes.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, pick a mode, and they pick this, and they end up on a beach, and these Marines or whatever came out of the water, and basically they go off. But it's basically a holodeck episode of Star Trek Next Gen where the holodeck's malfunctioning, and they start trying to shoot them. So Metamorpho's kind of like protecting them. But what makes this different from the regular holodeck from Star Trek is that these digital soldiers actually sort of end up leaving the room, and the fight spills out onto like the campus they're at. And this is where Linya's with Plastic Man, and they're talking, and he's eavesdropping on the new date that Mr. Terrific is having with Miss Terrific. But it all sort of spills out onto them, and the action ensues, and the Plastic Man is getting hit with bullets, like it is real things. Although amusingly, there's a lot of video game references here, where I say references. There's references in the sense that they kind of compare it to video games, and when it starts to malfunction, I think Stag's daughter makes the soldiers get health bars above their head, so they literally have health bars above them, and it's like, hey, just hit them enough until the health bar goes away.
Yeah.
Until it's depleted. There is one really awkward reference to Fortnite, which I thought was weird.
Okay.
Where what was the line? It was something like, someone says, "Oh, you mean this is like what part of the application for this tech is that this will eventually be for video games?" Like, "Oh, my kid will be playing this," and I think someone says, "Oh, it sure beats Fortnite."
It could be true.
It probably does beat Fortnite, but like I don't know, it felt like a weird name drop. I don't know. It's also bizarre that it's the second thing I've with a Fortnite reference in it that I've noticed this week.
As someone that works around kids that play Fortnite, that would have angered me.
Yes.
You get used to it.
So sick of hearing about Fortnite.
Yeah.
No, because I have to stop them when they're in line for lunch from doing those stupid dances. It's like, go outside then. Like, ugh.
Yeah. So the soldiers get their masks taken off and they turn out to actually be like frog people.
That's
Yeah,
a
tongues.
swerve.
Yeah. No, it's all it's and then eventually Miss Terrific, who wasn't in costume to begin with, shows up in costume with her T spheres. And actually sorry, T cubes. She doesn't have spheres, she has cubes. I should get that right.
Mm,
And
that makes
drains
sense.
the moisture out of the frogs. And then Mr. Terrific's like, hey, how did your cubes do that? It's like, yeah, well, we can compare tech later. We got things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, she and Plastic Man, because he went to Catholic school, and she realised that, wait a minute, the big snake, big serpent, then we had frogs, like, and then what's next? And then, of course, next we have the locust coming in, and they're like, hey, Curtis is like, okay, or not Curtis, Michael. Wrong, Mr. Terrific. Michael's like, hey, wait a minute. For those of us who aren't familiar with all this mythology, what are you saying here? It's like, yeah, we're not fighting like some video game thing. We're fighting God basically because the plagues of Egypt are coming.
Oh boy.
But they do appear to be digital in some capacity. Something's causing this. So obviously
Oh,
we're not
maybe
really.
it's the new Assassin's Creed.
So obviously it's not
Assassin's
really.
Creed Plagues of Egypt.
It's not really good, obviously, but it makes for a fun like final line as
Yeah.
Plastic Man shouts it out. But yeah, so no, I enjoyed the issue. The character voices are there. We kind of knew that from the annual. That
Yeah.
Yang was going to
Yang.
handle this pretty well, and it was going to be a smooth transition. And I like that Miss Terrific is also sticking around and feels that we've expanded the team a little bit. So that's good too. Yeah, it was good. Art was solid. Yeah, it was. I mentioned Steven Segovia, at the start. I like Segovia's art actually. It's not necessarily identical to what the books had before, but I like Segovia when it was on Action Comics for a while, a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's got a nice, clean style that lends itself to the book. So, yeah. If I'm rating it, I think this was a solid 7.5.
Okay.
So hopefully next time when we get the next issue, Matt will have read it and we can discuss it.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but it was fun. Like it was fun. Plastic Man and Metamorpho. Because actually, it's a really fun part where the floods are coming in or not the floods, but the characters are the soldiers coming out of the water, and he's trying to protect everyone. So he kind of forms a wall at the shore, but his head's sticking out at the top of the wall in the middle. There's I don't know, just fun imagery, fun things going on.